Hi there, on meteorologist Robert Spenny here with you on today, the 7th, going into the 8th of August 2013. The main topic out here in the Western Pacific today, and probably one reason why you are tuning in, is because we are continuing to watch Tropical Storm Mangkhut making landfall here into northern Vietnam. It already impacted portions of southern Hainan here, brought about 50 to 100 millimeters of rainfall. Some damage in Sansha City, a little island there just towards the southeast of Hainan. So that was really the worst of it there. I know, really horrible picture here. But now we're looking at some heavy rain, or at least the risk of heavy rain across much of northern Vietnam into Hanoi, where this picture was taken earlier on the day before these heavier rain bands started to push onshore. Within these bands, though, I do think winds up to 60 to 70 kilometers per hour are not completely out of the question. I'm talking about these areas here in the darker reds. Now, we got Hanoi off here towards the north, and you're going to be seeing some of those bands push on shore. And right near the coast, you could be seeing about 60 to 70 kilometer per hour winds as well. This is enough to knock down some weak structures, possibly cause some coastal flooding. But the main risk with this storm system going through the next 24 to 48 hours after it does make landfall here, and probably by the time you're watching it already has made landfall, is just a heavy rainfall we're going to be seeing out of it. The Vietnam Meteorological Agency actually continues to warn on this out until about Thursday night after it pushes onshore and continues to track farther inland here. Main threat from them, I do believe, it's really going to be the heavy rainfall. There's a serious risk of flooding with this. Some areas could see about 100 to 200 millimeters of rain. As shown on this 72-hour accumulation outlook, you see those totals really building up farther inland, even over towards Laos. Also northern Thailand, because you have that moisture inflow coming from the monsoon out here. Remember, if you have a low pressure here, that's really going to enhance it, and it's going to pull those winds around it there in that southwesterly to northeasterly direction. So some heavy totals are going to be expected across much of the northern portions of the Indochina Peninsula through the coming days. So definitely, if you have any reports out there of what's going on the ground, please give us that feedback. Please let us know what's going on. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, because if we do get any reports, we'll definitely want to share it there as well. So please stay safe out there, everybody, with this storm system. While I have the accumulation up, though, from the GFS output, you can see another area there really starting to build up with some heavy rainfall in the accumulation. That is because of this area right here towards the southwest of Guam. I know if you're out there in Guam, you've been seeing those heavy rain showers throughout the day. Good news, it's going to probably be tapering off going into Thursday. Anybody has any vacation plans? I know one of my friends flying from Tokyo down there to Guam throughout the rest of this week, and unfortunately, I told him, at least for now, the storms are in place, but it is going to be picking up. It is going to be improving. It is because of this area, though, that we are looking at the threat of a possible severe tropical storm to maybe even a typhoon going into the weekend, into next week here in the northern Luzon. Could be southern Taiwan, and, well, one of the models are pushing at the southern Japanese islands. I don't see that high pressure in place off there towards the north, but right now we have to watch this system initialize. At this time, I do see some circulation coming around it in the last several frames. This infrared action might be a little bit clearer on what I'm talking about here. A little bit of circulation. Now, ASCAT not really picking up on this quite yet. I think it's because the passes keep on missing it. Remember, ASCAT imagery, it takes the measurement of the waves and really their directions, and you get an estimate of how strong the wind is. But it's a polar orbiter, so you really don't get direct passes with it. I'll show you actually the field right now. And this is what I'm talking about here, the polar orbiter, so you only get to see so much. You kind of have to get lucky, especially with these smaller systems. If we click this and actually blow it up, what we can see here is the wind field around Mangkhut, that was taken earlier today, and it's pretty accurate, showing up to about 40 knots within that center of circulation. Now, before I show you the model outlooks with this storm system, I do want to remind you that we still have to wait for the initialization and the genesis before we can get a more accurate idea of where exactly this is going to be going. What I can tell you is a general idea, though, of where it's going to be going if it does develop out here. Now, this is first what I want to show you is a GFS model outlook. And what we're going to be seeing here is this tracking towards the west once it starts to initialize on Friday going into Saturday. out there towards northern Luzon, really running along the southern periphery of the Westpac High, which is located right here. And remember, these storm systems are like water. They want to run downhill. So when you get this big high pressure dominating towards the north and over Okinawa and the southern Japanese islands, you've been talking about how dry it is, and then over towards eastern China, Shanghai is getting temperatures in the 40s because this high pressure is dominating. So I don't see it breaking anytime soon. The next model I'm going to show you, actually, that may change according to that one. But now, as we scroll through, it does make landfall there into northeastern Luzon, possibly as a severe tropical storm, maybe a weak typhoon. According to this one, winds actually up to about that 65 knot threshold for a typhoon to be there. So yeah, we want to continue to watch that. There's a possibility with it. And then it starts to turn towards the northwest, making a landfall somewhere around the Taiwan Strait, likely there into Fujian province, even out there towards portions of Guangdong. That's still very long range, though. Let's talk about next Wednesday. What I want to show you next, though, is the NavGem model output, and that's what I'm talking about with the possibility of that high breaking down a little bit. And I stress possibly, but it's still long range, and let's continue to watch through it. But you got the initialization with this. Now, what's important, though, is that NavGem and GFS picking up on this, CMC as well, and even the ECMWF. It's a little flaky on it, but it's there. So what's important is we have numerous models expecting a system to develop. So something into the weekend, as shown here, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Look at this. It stays offshore just east of Luzon. Doesn't mean you're not going to see rainfall in the Philippines. The enhancement of the monsoon, we've seen systems in the past just drag moisture across this area here. But then it starts to move north along the western periphery of the Westpac High. And you can see it here. Look at these lines. They actually start to ridge a little bit farther towards the east. So if that was to happen, if this high was to push off there towards the east, it would allow for this to break into the north and possibly impact the southern Japanese islands. Long range, remember that. I mean, this model is showing a few anomalies. There's one, actually, a hurricane coming in from the, I'll move this over just a little bit. You can see it there, a hurricane coming in east of the 180 and pushing out there towards the west. I haven't seen anything for that to happen, but there's a possibility of that as well in the long range. But I think keynote this weekend, it does look like it is going to be a busy weekend. This is by, well, Sunday morning, possibility of a typhoon or severe tropical storm just east of Luzon here. That's going to bring some gusty winds, possibility of a storm surge out here, and definitely the heavy rains on these very saturated grounds, which have just been hitting the Philippines quite recently, and we've been seeing totals about 300 to 400 millimeters across most of the Philippines, actually, especially down towards the south. For serious floodings in place. Actually, I'll put up one of the links into the description down below of an update written by Donis here, one of the authors here at westernpacificweather.com, very detailed about the flooding that has been taking place. You know, 19 people recently have been killed due to the floods, and with a typhoon coming through, that is just going to exacerbate the situation. So with that said, everybody, please stay safe out there. Also, don't forget to check out our daily satellite analysis here. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can please post them down into the comment box below. I always appreciate the feedback. Also, reminder, we are not the official agency by any means. We're just a bunch of weather otakus out here trying to put some information together for you and hopefully helps you out. So please check in with JMA, they're the official agency on typhoons out here. Also, CMA if you're out here in southern China, Vietnam, Pagasa. Also, northeastern China's been seeing some heavy rain, so I'm definitely sure if you're out there, you'll see the impact from that. If you scroll up on our Western Pacific weather page, also, if you can check your local weather if we missed out on you here for that. But that is all. Thanks for watching, everybody.